Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of A Literary Tasting. My name is Annie.
My name is Jessica.
And this week
we're mourning.
Oh my god.
If you can hear my dog running around in the background,
Apologies. I don't know.
I hate that damn dog. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. There he is.
Yeah. Yeah, we're in mourning to all my 1D girls. I feel your pain. It's been tough. Like, when I tell you...
I was going to ask you if you were going to get any One Direction... First of all, would you get a One Direction tattoo?
Yeah.
What would you get?
So, I think I would get... I saw a TikTok that this girl posted of, like, song lyrics that she made into little doodles, and I thought those were really, really cute. So I would get one of those, but I would get it for either You and I, or I would get it for Long Way Down.
I think I would get it for Girl Almighty. I've been thinking, I think for my birthday, I don't want gifts. Or for my wedding, I don't want gifts. If you're invited to my wedding, you have to show up with a One Direction tattoo. And I don't care if you're my grandma.
Yeah. Yeah. We're all getting the tattoo. We're all getting the Girl Almighty tattoo specifically.
No, you have to make up your own.
Oh, okay, period.
Yeah.
This is to weed out the fakes. Yeah.
He's just gonna be a distraction in this video, y'all.
I know. But yeah, in all seriousness, like, that devastated me really bad. Devastated both of us.
Yeah.
So,
we do believe Maya, though, just to be clear.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, it was just...
death is still sad and grief is still hard.
Yeah.
If you got... Comment down below what One Direction tattoo you would get.
Yeah, comment down below.
If you were invited to my wedding. On the Literary Tasting, every week we cover our latest read, and we have a drink while we talk about it. This week, because it is spooky season, we are reading The Butcher and The Wren by... one of the Morbid podcast hosts. You know,
Elena Urquhart.
Elena. And to drink, we have apple cider.
Because it's spooky season. Clink! It's gonna hit every time.
I love apple cider.
It's so good.
I will say at some point between, maybe even on Halloween, I love apple cider mimosas. Like, that is, boots down, the best drink you can have.
I've never had one of those before.
Fuck. It's really scary to hear those words.
I know. Before we get into the book, obviously it's classified as like a
mystery, thriller, horror.
Yeah. So there are definitely some trigger warnings. I put down graphic descriptions of violence, physical abuse, murder, psychological torture. I think that covers all our bases pretty much.
I would also say stalking.
Oh, yeah. Stalking, too. That's a good one. Yeah.
I mean, but
home invasion. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's a mystery, so.
Yeah. Kind of to be expected, but this is still, like, way on the graphic side. So, just in case you're, like, not interested in hearing those things. Obviously, this, like she just mentioned, is written by one of the hosts of Morbid Podcast. So... you know, we have a lot more detail. If you're not like a true crime girly like we are, then it might be a little bit much for you, I would say.
What do you think about the Morbid girls? I sometimes think, sorry to interrupt, but you didn't even get a breath in before it's like, well, actually, I think, no shade to the Morbid girls, because I still listen to y'all, so y'all are still getting my coin, but I think they're a little bit too frivolous and too, we're just two 90s girls. Talking about murder. I'm like, wow, guys. I feel like more recently, I've become a lot less, like, interested in it, because it just makes me nauseous now.
Yeah, I agree. I listen to, well, one, I like them. Well, I probably, because it's, like, the one podcast, it's, like, the podcast I listen to the most. I think I've heard literally every episode of that. But I will say, like, especially the John Wayne Gacy episode they did, I had to stop and, like, I got really nauseous. So I think that was one of the points where I was like, oh, I'm growing up. Like, I can't listen to this.
I think that they're a little bit too...
It's intense. Yeah.
Just, like, silly and goofy, and, like, those are real people.
Yeah.
You know, with real families.
Yeah.
And real things that happen to them. Now, if it's people from, like, the 1800s, I guess it doesn't really matter, but...
Yeah. Fair points, though. Fair points.
But don't worry, I still bought your book and I still listen to your podcast, so take everything I say with a grain of salt, as always.
I listen every Monday and Thursday. Like, I'm listening.
Like clockwork?
Like clockwork. Like, I listened to the episode this morning. So, yeah. Now, the book follows two main characters. I feel like a lot of the books that we cover have like dual perspective.
I like dual perspective.
Me too. But like typically, obviously, like we're reading a romance. This is like the complete fucking opposite.
This is not what we're talking about, but I love a sex scene written from a man's perspective.
Me too. Something about it. What? Bring back yearning.
Yay.
How do we get there? I mean, not wrong. But where was I? Oh, so we're following our two main characters who we jump back and forth through both of their perspectives. One of them is Dr. Wren Muller, who is a forensic pathologist, which basically means she's like an autopsy technician.
She's the doctor, not a technician. She's the doctor.
She's an autopsy doctor. Like she runs that home.
Whatever that means.
Yeah. And we also follow the main antagonist, Jeremy. He is the serial killer in question that Wren is trying to catch throughout the book. Now, the book is broken up into two parts, part 1 and part 2. So we're going to start by going through part 1. And through part 1, I'm going to, for the most part, I'm going to go through Jeremy's chapters first and then Wren's. And then we'll move on to part 2. Because I'm going to do something a little different in part 2.
What's the point of part 1 and part 2?
Well, we'll get there.
Okay, well, I guess I didn't get the book. I guess we just had that just now.
Yeah. So, you ready? Oh, our fan casting. Did you fan cast anyone for Dr. Wren?
I would say just like Anna Kendrick. Ooh! Or, I'm not going to say her name right, so I'm just going to say Spencer Hastings.
Good one! Troy and Belisario. I love her. I love her boots. That's my queen. Yeah, that you chewed with that one.
Can you imagine like what a collaboration that would be if Spencer from Pretty Little Liars was in the Wren and the Butcher movie?
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
I can imagine, but it's also like sometimes dreams become reality and it's too much to bear.
I think you'll be okay.
You're like, you'll be fine. And then I casted, I don't know if anyone saw the movie Longlegs that came out not too long ago.
Or It Follows.
Yeah.
But you said specifically. Let me just let you talk.
Well, it doesn't matter. The actress, Micah Monroe. I mentioned...
AKA the girl, in It's No Sunshine. Where she's like, now it's like I'm looking in a mirror.
Mm-hmm. Mrs.
The girl in the mirror, indeed.
The new Mrs. Dalton Gomez.
I have her though. No shade to her, but no. Dalton.
All shade to Dalton, but
yeah. And the thing is I don't. Even if Ariana Grande actually stole that woman's baby daddy, and she cheated on her husband, unfortunately, I'm still on her side.
I have to stand every time. It doesn't matter to me. I'm so sorry, but I love her. Even through all her problematic.
I was on her side even when I thought she cheated on him unprovoked.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a lie. I wasn't. But then I heard the album, and then I was like,
I'm back. Yeah. You want me back yet again.
She got. That's the thing. I saw her lick those donuts in the donut shop. I said, I heard one last time. I said, well, what can you do?
Yeah, well, you can't do shit. You actually can't. For me, it was her whole Blackiana phase. Loved Blackiana.
I was going to say, you didn't like that? I was going to say, who... Wait. No, I just meant, like, Thank You Next was such a good era.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's like, you have to stand. What can you do?
No, like, I don't know.
Yeah. But, yeah, I miss Micah Monroe. Specifically in Longlegs because she plays, like, a detective in that, but her in general, I thought fit the role pretty well. And then for Jeremy, our antagonist.
I casted Josh Kelly. He's in a show called Unreal. It's on Netflix. It's really good. My dad recommended that to me, actually.
Really? Sometimes dads be coming with the heaviest hitters, to be honest.
My dad likes the best shows.
Right? Like, yeah. I casted Scott Eastwood.
We're not getting anywhere.
No. I casted Scott Eastwood because they describe him as one being blonde, two being like pretty like good, two being pretty good looking. Scott Eastwood is obviously like a very attractive man, but like I feel like he could have a sinister side. You know what I mean? Like he could have something sinister lurking beneath, and like that's why I casted him. My money don't jiggle jiggle.
Oh, hold on.
Guy. I casted a young man named Josh Stewart. For those who watch Criminal Minds, he plays JJ's Southern Louisiana husband.
Oh my god! At first, I thought you meant the guy from the Daily Show that you like, not him.
I love
Jon Stewart. Yeah,
I love Jon Stewart more than anything.
Oh yeah.
No, when I looked up his name, I was like, oh, there's two of them, and then I was like, oh no, you don't compete where you can't compare, right? So, yeah. If his name was John, he obviously changed it to Josh. No offense. Anyway, let's move on.
Anyone named Josh? Yeah, you should go to prison. Tell me why you shouldn't go to prison right now if your name is Josh.
We'll wait. Leave it in the comments. Fight for your life.
Please leave anything in the comments below.
Anything. Okay, so let's get into part one. Like I said, I'm going to go through Jeremy and then I'm going to go through Wren's chapters. But just keep in mind that these are obviously bouncing back and forth throughout. But right now, it's not too important. So in part one, Jeremy, it opens with him in his home.
In the past.
He's taking a shower. He's like, oh, I love my life here on my beautiful Louisiana farm. It's so nice. Farm. My beautiful Louisiana, like, you know. Swamp. It's
Louisiana?
We in Louisiana, y'all. This takes place in Louisiana. The Bayou. Okay?
I'm already scared.
I know. And then he starts mentioning...
The only bayou I want to go to is Tiana's.
He starts mentioning, like, he's talking very, like, casually about some guests he has, and he's, like, mentioned some distant screaming, and you're kind of like, what the fuck? And then we immediately realize that these guests are captives that he has in his basement. Matt and Katie.
I mean, when I first, you guys go to the bar with me.
Literally. And yeah, he has them both in his basement and he abducted them from a bar. He basically tells Katie that she needs to like stop yelling and screaming.
He was pissing me off bad.
I know. Well,
I know that was the point.
Yeah. That was the point.
So she got her point across, but he was pissing me off. I almost couldn't read it because I was just like, oh, shut up.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It landed for sure. Like, it worked. She wrote him really well. I hated him.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Kudos to her.
Yeah.
Her flowers.
Yeah. So Katie obviously keeps screaming, so he pulls out one of her fingernails and then is like,
Lori.
girl, like, I'll pull out your teeth, like, stop. And she's, I mean, they're literally captive in his basement. Matt is passed out from, I guess, whatever the hell he did to them before. And then he turns up his music and just kind of keeps the chapter ends there, but I guess he continues to, like, you know, toy with them. After,
don't you have a job, loser?
Well, yes, he does, because he
right, he does have a job. Never mind.
He's like, well, I gotta go to work now, so he leaves them.
Do my job.
Yeah, and he heads to work. As he's doing that, he kind of reflects on his childhood a little bit. A lot of his internal monologue is. It's very clear that this man is, like, severely deranged. Like, there's something wrong. Like, the way he speaks about other people, like, it's just clearly something is off. But he also kind of touches on the fact that his, like, family life was very poor. His dad was, like, physically abusing him. His mother was a maniac. Yeah, his mother was cheating on his dad, like, and would bring him to said meetups. So, you know, obviously there is stuff in his past that was awful. And he kind of thinks about that.
I don't think I can keep him on his toes anymore. Now I'm on my toes.
For no reason. He also mentions how when his mother would take him on her little dates on her affair, he would find books about science and experiments, and he got really interested in performing lobotomies and like just like human experimentation.
See, like that just irritates me because it's just like, girl, what?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I know.
It feels a little forced, is all. I mean, I guess maybe like some people.
Yeah.
I guess.
I guess. I mean, there are people out there who are like this, which is like insane to think about because, like you said, it feels like the kind of thing where you're like, this shit only happens in a movie, you know? But there are people out there who are like this. He goes to his boring ass job, and he's rude as fuck to the receptionist. Bitch, I'll kill you. Like, not too much on her. she's going through enough already.
No, that's the thing, is that, like, people don't understand how hard it is being a receptionist.
They don't get it.
Have you ever heard the sound of a phone ringing?
Have you ever sat under?
Have you ever sent an email and had them respond with a stupid question
and disrespect?
Yeah, it's hey, hey bitch.
Yeah.
I want to set up an appointment for Tuesday. We're closed on Tuesdays. You're a bitch. I want to come in on Tuesdays.
And also that they write the entire email in the subject line.
Meanwhile, I'm good morrow, young man. Warm regards.
No
and they're like, I want to come on Tuesday.
Come spelled C-U-M, literally.
And then me responding, well,
my sincerest apologies, but my fan maiden, our facilities are closed tomorrow.
Facilities.
Oh, yeah, so he's rude as fuck to her, and doesn't give a fuck. He sits down at his desk and he's watching TV, and there's like a newscasting about Katie and Matt, and he's thinking like, haha, like, like, look at me with them in my basement, they have no clue.
I want to tell this part of the story. And his coworker comes up and he's like, man, can you believe this? And they're having like some kind of memorial on the TV, like she said, and he's like, I hate performative activism. Shut up,
Literally,
dude.
like, and that one has like no excuse. Like, he's just like a random coworker. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Well, and the coworker's like, yeah, man, you're right. I hate when they do that too. What?
Why are you trying to impress
Can you
Jeremy?
imagine? Can you imagine if your coworkers did that to you? What would you do? I think I would just go, oh.
That's interesting.
No, one thing about me. One thing about me, I will agree with anything my coworkers say. No matter
To be
what it
honest, they're talking to me and I'm like, yeah, for real. In my head, I'm watching One Direction, This Is Us.
You're thinking about you're thinking about the apple cider donut.
Yeah. But we find out now too that on the TV they call this serial killer the Bayou Butcher. And he's like, oh, look at that moniker I have.
Ooh,
and he's
cheesy.
Yeah, and he is excited about it. This being because he disposes of his victims in the bayou.
In the bayou.
In the bayou. Now we get more deranged childhood backstory, some more stuff about his parents, yada yada yada.
No, that's the thing is, I think I just can't ever, like, it's not that I'm not scared of a male villain. I just think, like, the scariest thing of all is that you're a man. Like, the scariest thing of all is that, like, you think you're so dead serious.
Yeah, like, I kind of expect this from y'all at this point. Like, someone needs to prove me wrong.
Yeah, no, like, get a bet. Can you spice things up?
Yeah, like
in the back of a murderer's car. Like, this is so boring. God, I knew you were gonna do this.
Yeah, like, goddamn, so predictable. But he, what's my place? Oh, there I am. Now he goes back home and the next day, his new victim, or his latest victim, Megan, I think, is found. In the bayou. And he's very giddy about it, and he keeps thinking like, oh, but they don't even know what's coming. Like, they don't even know what I got up my sleeve.
That's the thing about it. Like, he's so annoying, and he's like, I feel like it's so, okay, you know what I think needs to happen? So many people love to be like Ted Bundy, for example, they love to be like, he was just so smart and so charming.
Yeah.
You know what? Like, that's the thing is that, like, you're not smart. You're actually really stupid because stupid people commit murders.
Yeah.
Nobody smart has ever committed a murder.
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee you that.
Yeah.
And you know who's stupid? The police.
Yeah.
And so for him to be like, I'm just like so smart, I'm so like good at murdering people, it's like, no, like
They're just not doing their job well.
Yeah.
Point blank period.
Idiot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it literally takes...
you know what it is? I hate seeing a man that's confident.
I know, that's the problem.
I'm like, God, dude.
I was gonna say, he's just so egotistical. Like, he loves himself.
That.
And
you don't even have tits, dude.
He has a really big inflated sense of self-importance. And, I mean, obviously, point blank period, a woman has to come in and solve these crimes. Like, as they always fucking do, they save the day. Now, the next day, he's in class, and he's watching this other student named Emily. And literally the entire fucking 3-hour lecture, he's just staring her down like a fucking freak.
I was thinking that too. I was like, how did she not notice that he was...
Can you imagine you're in class and you keep looking over every 10 minutes
Yes,
for
I can
3
imagine
hours,
it.
and he's like...
Yes, I can imagine it, because it's happened to all of us.
I know. That happened to me, or at us, when we were at the club like 2 weekends ago, or 3 weekends ago. Yeah.
I think that man was on ketamine or something.
I think he was off one. But he makes note of a little, like, charm bracelet that she has on, this, like, little silver charm bracelet that has an anatomical heart on it. And he's, like, staring at it. And
oh, I totally missed that.
Oh, yeah. I missed it, too, at first. I only caught it when I went back and made this outline. But they walk out of class together, and she's being really nice to him and being like, we should study together this weekend, like, whatever. And he's like, yeah, for sure.
Like, trying to flirt, low-key.
I know, and, like, whole time, he's literally, like, getting his fucking chloroform ready in his pocket. Fuck ass.
And you know what else?
Yeah.
He kidnaps her. I'm just gonna skip to the end of this story. He kidnaps her. But is it community college, or, like, is he paying for, like... I'm not saying that community college isn't actual university. I went to community college. However, there is a big price difference between actual college and community college. Mm-hmm. Was he paying, like, college prices to go hunt women?
I don't know.
Loser!
I mean, yeah, if you're doing that, that's a little bit crazy. Spending money just to go leer at women is fucking insane. Yeah, fucking loser. I mean...
I'm done barking at people. I'm gonna start biting and injecting them with ketamine.
Okay. Yeah, he chloroforms her, stuffs her in her own car. He picks up her bracelet off the floor because it falls off her wrist. And then he drives away in her car. Very fucking... Yeah, very fucking scary. She wakes up later on his land, and he's watching her through a fucking TV screen, and he basically is like, welcome guests, you're here on my hunting grounds. I gave you all a flashlight. You can escape if you can make it to the edge of my property, but I will be hunting you. Go ahead and start running. Which is fucking terrifying.
Would you run?
Would I run? Yeah!
I'm not sure that I would.
You would just let him catch you?
It's not that I would let him catch me. I don't like my odds.
I mean, the odds are bad, but I think I would be too scared. Like, sitting down and waiting to face him is, like, scary work.
I feel like if he's prepared to chase you... And by the way, I'm not making light of any victims that have been chased by a murderer. I'm just saying this is a hypothetical situation.
This is very fictional. Yeah, it's a fictional story.
Yeah. I feel like I'd be so mad. I'd be like, you know what? I don't want to live that bad anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm a receptionist, so I've got a lot of anger in me.
So awful. Like,
I don't like my odds. I actually kind of like my odds more at fighting him.
Fair enough. That's fair.
Which is not... No, it's actually not fair, because I actually can't lift anything.
No, but I understand what you mean. Like, you would feel a little bit more secure waiting than, like, having him face you than having to run. Because, you know when you were a kid and you would play hide and seek and there was something so terrifying about being hidden? Like, when you were waiting for the person to come find you?
No, I love hide and seek.
Personally, I would be scared. I don't know why. Like, the anticipation of waiting for someone to come find me, like, the hunt, I don't like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't like that. So I get it in that sense. But, like, girl, I'm hitting boots. I literally don't think I physically could. I understand. That's a really fucking scary situation. That's, like, debilitating. I don't know. Yeah. Your fight or flight kicks in, and you don't really know what you're gonna do in that situation until it happens. But the fucking scary thing is, too, that he fucking starts blasting, like fucking screamo music.
Oh, you know what was serving? It was serving Fear Street.
Oh, yeah.
When she plays the... What's that song?
I know what you're talking about, though. Yeah, I don't remember, but yeah.
I love Fear Street.
That's good.
I love gay people.
Yeah. I also love Sadie Sink.
I love
the second one.
Oh, I wish she would have been gay in it, too.
Yeah. Maybe next time.
Not enough gay people in that series.
So he begins his hunt. He goes after them. At this point, Emily runs into Katie, and they find each other. And Katie's like, we gotta find Matt, though. Like, we have someone else in here that we gotta find.
I would leave Matt.
Yeah, Emily was like, girl, no.
Expeditiously, I would leave Matt.
Yeah, but Katie obviously was with him and, probably feels like she needs to. I get it. So she's trying to find him. They eventually run into him, but Jeremy catches up and shoots Matt straight in the skull. And it's awful. Katie is, like, splattered with blood. Emily takes off, so she takes off after her. But then Katie starts to, like, not be able to move. Like, she's, like, her legs literally stop working. And in his monologue, Jeremy's like, yeah, I injected her IV bag with certain chemicals that will paralyze her. He literally is like a fucking crap weasel. Like, literally, you're awful. So he obviously purposefully didn't even give them a chance to fucking survive. And because Katie falls to the ground. Emily takes off. Well, once she falls to the ground, he shoots her in the leg. Emily takes off, and he comes up and kills Katie. Now he's going after just Emily, and when he finally catches up with her, she makes it to the fence. Like, she's about to leave. Fence is electrocuted, obviously.
No, like, you're actually pissing me off.
No, it's like there's a fucking op at every corner for her. I feel so bad. Like, this shit was pissing me off OD. I was like, this poor girl, she made it to the edge.
Yeah.
And still. And he's like, you didn't think I would have electrified my fence? Bro.
No, I didn't think that.
I didn't think you were this fucking deranged.
No, like, that's the thing is, I would turn around and be like, no. All right, you want to go?
I've had about enough.
Put the gun down.
Take me in hand-to-hand combat.
I heard what you said to that receptionist. It's over.
Also, we have to also say that when he met Emily, he was going on by a different name. Like, he was calling himself Cal. So she doesn't even know that his
Cal
name was Jeremy.
is the most menacing, terrifying name I've ever heard in my entire life.
Cal is assuredly... when I think of someone named Cal, I'm thinking of someone wearing a muscle tee. And muscle tees scare me deeply. Genuinely. That's a really, terrifying name. He catches up to her. He's giving this long-winded, boastful speech, because they always do. He drops some fucking chemicals into her eyeballs that will blur her vision, which is so fucking terrifying.
Yeah, this book was a very, very, very chilling and off-putting.
No, literally, I think that she did a good job of the thriller was there. I was scared.
I was scared too.
Especially because I listened to the audiobook. And I will say that you know how I feel about audiobooks. Sometimes they can really make or break given who's reading it. I thought that they both did a pretty good job. His voice was scaring me, low key. I was afraid.
I didn't hear the man speak. I don't think.
Yeah, his voice was scaring me. So he then tells her. He basically stabs her in the spine, with the intention of paralyzing her and leaving her there to let torture until the morning. He wakes up the next morning and he's like, oh, what a fun evening I had. And he's like, let me go check on Emily. And he walks up to her and he's like, oh shit, did she die? I did not mean to kill her. He gets up to her and he's like, oh, hold on. Savannah, this is Katie, the girl he shot beforehand. And he's like, wait, what the fuck? And he realizes that clearly he made a mistake. He missed her spine when he stabbed Emily, and she managed to escape. And he is pissed off. He is mad. But he's like, you know what? I'll catch her. She can't be that far away. I'm gonna catch up to her. And that's where we end Jeremy's part 1.
Okay, I think the dual perspective, it should have been part 1 should have been his perspective and part 2 should have been her perspective. The switching back and forth, I didn't understand. It lost me.
I will say it was confusing because it didn't make sense until you got to part 2.
When we get to the reveal was good.
Yeah, but I was confused until that part. So that's why I broke it up this way, because it's a little bit more...
That makes so much more sense.
Yeah. So we're now with Wren's chapters, like I said. This is bouncing back and forth with all the stuff I just mentioned. But with Wren, again, we meet her at the scene of a murder in the middle of the night in the bayou. She and her colleagues are at the scene of a crime. A young woman who was murdered and left for dead. She's standing there and she's inspecting her wounds and gives a time of death approximately with what, based on all her findings. She's also teaching the new young deputies, which I was you're a girl boss. She's running that bitch, for real.
I know. I wish I could do more than be a receptionist, but unfortunately some people are just stupid.
Yeah, and the thing is too, I almost got a minor in forensic science because I think it's really, really interesting, but my school didn't offer it, which was really upsetting. I know. But I think it's so interesting and actually
don't.
I applied for a job to be a forensic photographer. I think that stuff is really interesting. I mean, it's terrifying, but it's interesting.
Did you get it?
No, the job closed. But yeah.
Oh.
Obviously, I didn't get it, but...
I don't think humans are meant to see dead things.
No, it definitely would have been very traumatizing, but I think also, someone has to do that job,
It doesn't have to be you.
That's true. Now, they get back to her... What do we call it? A lab? Her lab?
The morgue.
The morgue. Thank you. Yeah, they get back to the morgue, and she is running her autopsy on this Jane Doe, and comes to several conclusions that, the time of death that she gave was slightly off, and that the cause of death was due to one thing when she thought it was another, And basically,
like, she's just doing too damn well.
Yeah, there was a lot of things that she was like, oh, wait, hold on. And this is when we meet Detective LaRue. He pulls up and he's like, hey, what's going on here? I imagine him with a very thick accent.
Do you picture him as being sexy?
I don't picture him as being like conventionally sexy, but I picture him having like a certain je ne sais quoi that makes him just kind of like very, like he has like a raw sexual magnetism, you know? And when he gets there, she says, okay, so here's the thing. I think
that was like actually a really insane statement.
What was insane about it?
Raw sexual magnetism.
Yeah. She gets there and she's like, yeah, so I'm pretty sure that the Jane Doe had been frozen before she had been dumped in the bayou, which is crazy. Now, during this whole part, she ruminates on, you know, the likelihood of this being a serial killer because they found other victims with similar wounds in the bayou. She also mentions how much she hates, like, his egotistical personality and his bravado and all that, and she mentions BTK. Now, I need a side note here, like, Dennis Rader.
What?
BTK is like a murderer.
Oh!
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I said that last name correctly. Dennis something.
No, I've just never heard of the case.
Oh, yeah. He was just like a really awful, prolific serial killer who was very, 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 very overconfident in himself. And during these chapters, she was mentioning a lot of, like, she mentioned BTK, she probably mentioned Ted Bundy.
I know
at some
what you're talking
point.
about. She mentioned a few, not Ted Bundy, she mentioned a couple, like, I don't want to say under the radar, so it makes it sound like, again, these are real people and real stories, and I don't want to make it anything that it's not. But, like, maybe less known, I guess, cases. Mm-hmm. What did you think of that? I'm interested.
Well, so I was like...
It's a little bit corny, girl.
Yeah.
It's a little on the nose.
It's like, because BTK specifically, as someone I've listened to literally every episode of Morbid, she hates him. Like, Elena specifically hates him, that man. She brings it up all the time. So the fact that she put this in there,
in the book,
being like, I hate that man, I was like,
get it, girl.
Actually,
I'm gonna write a book and I'm gonna put I hate your ex in it.
No, literally, like, girl. But then I was like, you know what? Like, the more it happened, the more I was like, you know what? This is her book. If I wrote a book, I'd probably be like tearing down my ops too.
You'd have your ex's name as the villain. And
yeah. So I was like, at first,
you'd be the main character. And you'd be a size 00.
Exactly.
With knockers up to your eyeballs.
Yeah, exactly. So back to the story. When
He's not texting me back, you guys. I'm gonna lose my fucking mind.
Well, he's probably trying to keep you on your toes now.
I'm already on my toes. I don't want to come down from my toes.
Trying to levitate.
I'm already levitating.
Now, when she gets home from work, she's talking to her husband about the case. Her husband's like, girl, you need to, like, take a load off. You're not even a detective. And she's like, no, but she's, like, thinking about all the clues, because this killer has been leaving little breadcrumbs of clues at all of his crime scenes. Namely,
one of them was her business card.
Yeah, one of them is her business card.
And no, I'd be boxing.
No. So
actually, no, I wouldn't be boxing. I'd be moving.
Yeah,
as if
I'm changing my name and I'm moving the country.
Back it up.
Like, there's no need to stay in Louisiana. It's not that.
Well, why did she stay in Louisiana in the first place?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, to be quite frank, I would have been gone. A library card.
She's a doctor. She can go anywhere.
I know. She finds a library card, or they find a library card belonging to someone named Philip Trudeau, which is important for later. She has a nightmare. Not that important. She keeps working on the autopsy.
We all know how I feel about nightmares as a plot device.
I know. LaRue takes her to the next crime scene, which is where they find her business card, and she's like, "Oh, Boots, no way." And LaRue's like, "Oh, it's probably not that serious, but we'll give you some security, girl." Like, that's.
Oh, who? The police?
Literally, we're already the police.
Well, no, also they didn't protect her.
I know. Like, huh? There's a chapter where she, like, goes out with her girlies that I felt was that could have been cut out.
I actually liked it.
Oh. Well,
I just love to see girls having fun. But I agree. It wasn't really. She goes to see, like, a tarot card reader.
Yeah.
And the lady, like, reads her palms and, like, says
some shit
stuff.
about,
But it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was already kind of a short book, so I don't know that necessarily. If she wanted to put, like you said, it's her book.
Yeah, it's her book. She can do whatever she wants. But she leaves after the tarot reading because she's freaked out. She finds her detective buddies at a bar. She goes to join them. And at the bar, she sees a poster that has this like little flowery design on it. And she's like, hold on. That's the same flowery design that we found on the body of one of the victims. Women are so smart. She's so smart. It was a poster.
She's so smart that I don't even know what she's talking about.
Literally when I tell you, I didn't understand a lot of this until I went back and redid this outline because I was literally like, what are you talking about, girl?
I didn't understand. I was like too stupid to understand this book.
No, there's a lot of science here. There's a lot of like street smarts. And I
think this was a lot of book smart.
Yeah, that too. I think both. I guess I'm just not smart.
At the end of the day.
So the poster.
You are smart.
I'm
not, but
you're also smart.
Let's move on.
The poster was for a jazz.
Someone smart be checking their phone this often for a man?
Yeah. Men literally make us sick. All of them. Doesn't matter. The poster was for a jazz festival, so she's like, he's telling us that the next victim is going to be at the jazz festival. Boomski. So she tells the whole police force, and
calling the detectives and saying
Boomski. So unserious. Oh god. Now they kind of make a team. They head to the festival. They get there, and she immediately starts smelling body decomp. And she's like, "This." Oh my
I hope I
God.
never.
I hope to never.
I know. I hate when true crime podcasts and books and police documentaries and blah blah blah. You know what death smells like.
I don't.
Not to be gross, but I've only smelled certain kinds of death, and it just smells like stinky poo.
I don't think I've ever smelled.
It smells like somebody diarrheaed in the toilet, and then like it didn't go down, so they just kind of left the bathroom, and then it's kind of been festering for a little while, and then you go in there, and it just kind of smells like stinky poop.
I think I once like drove past something very dead on like
a raccoon or something.
It was like a deer or something, and like my windows were down, and I smelled that, but that was like very quickly in passing. I don't know. I hope to never smell that ever. Like very.
So nasty. Please stop describing it.
Yeah.
Although I just described it.
You did in a lot of detail. And they start following the blowflies because apparently those types of flies are very attracted to dead bodies.
Dude, ew!
That's really gross.
Bugs are disgusting.
I fucking hate bugs. I'm sorry for all those bitches who are like, I love bugs. But yeah, they follow the flies and they find a very battered looking victim underneath one of the stages.
So gory.
Very gory. And they describe it, it's described in a lot more detail, but I will spare you. But the woman in question is holding a map of St. Louis Cemetery, and on it there's a certain plot that has an X through it. So she's like, okay, another clue.
It's kind of serving A little bit.
No, like I thought that these were, I felt like these were really well done, like the clues and everything. Like it was thought out. Like I'll give her that. Like it was thought out. The woman also has a smartwatch on that is very clean and pristine, and she's like, okay, she clearly wasn't wearing this at the time of her murder because the woman is like covered in dirt and like very battered. So she clicks the watch. She realizes there's a code. Basically, the code for the cemetery plot is what opens the watch. The watch has like a 45-minute timer, and she realizes, oh, there's a timer for someone who's going to pass away at the cemetery. So everyone is like, boots up, we gotta roll. And they head to the cemetery.
Boots up.
Boots up. Now they head to the cemetery and they realize it's a freshly dug grave. And there's a timer there as well that has 20 minutes left on it. And they all start digging for their lives, obviously, because they think that whoever's in there is about to die.
20 minutes left of your left or whatever.
Yeah, so they're like digging, and finally they pull her out they pull a casket out, they open it, and there's a woman inside who looks visibly passed away, and it's very upsetting because there's like claw marks on the top of the casket because she was obviously buried alive, and the other previous owner of this casket is also in there with her. So it's like, just to think about being put in the casket with a dead body is just like oh, so awful. But then Wren checks her pulse, and she still has a very faint pulse. So she's like, okay, take her to the hospital. Like, we managed to save her. Boots up again. Yeah, boots up again, guys. Let's take her to the hospital. It's all very scary. That big fear buried alive. Big fear of mine. That's terrifying. So, okay. Now we get to part 2. Now, I'm gonna go back to part 2 being like Jeremy Wren, because when we get to this part of the book, there's a little bit of a reveal. And I'll tell this reveal now so that you can understand it. Basically, in this first chapter of part 2, Jeremy's at the cemetery, and he's reminiscing on this kill and how much joy he felt putting Emily's silver bracelet on the girl who was found inside of the casket. This is where I was kind of like,
I was so confused.
I was getting really confused around here. I think I listened to this part like 4 times. I rewound it because I was very confused. He thinks about the murder at the jazz festival too, and he's just like very gleeful about the whole thing, and it's very disgusting.
Yeah, shut up.
Now we switch to Wren, who is back at the morgue, and she's running the autopsy on the victim, who we find out passed away at the hospital. She was stabbed in the same place that Emily was, in her spine, and she's looking through all the victim's belongings, and she finds the silver bracelet with the anatomical heart, the one that belonged to Emily, and she's like, Houseway, because that's mine. That's my bracelet. And then that's when you're like, oh! Emily is Wren. There we go.
I was not like that, indeed. I was like, oh, Emily is Wren.
Right, but it was confusing is the thing. Still, I think, again, I had to go back and listen to it like at least 4 times to like be like, oh, Jeremy's chapters in part 1 were in the past. And
yeah,
Wren's,
see, that's what's confusing.
Yeah.
I don't think she should have done it like that.
Yeah, because the thing,
the reveal was good, and at the end of the day, it's her book, but I was like, I don't get it.
The reveal was good, and I will say it genuinely shocked me. Like, I didn't see that coming at all.
Either, which is, I feel like, is really hard to do in any kind of anything
book,
nowadays.
TV show, movie. Like, it's hard not to predict what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I will give her big props for that, because I was genuinely shocked.
But I think part of the reason we were so shocked is because
I was
so
confused.
confusing.
I was confused.
And I don't think I highly doubt it's just us that are, like, so confused.
Yeah. It took a while. I had to, again, listen to it a couple times to really understand that, like, oh, Wren is Emily. And then I was like, oh. And then I realized that in the first part, Jeremy's chapters are 7 years in the past. So that whole thing with Emily and Matt and Katie, all that stuff was in the past. But Wren's chapters in the first part are in the present. And all the rest of the chapters in part 2 are also in the present. Which is why I think it's confusing. Because it's like, basically this book is cut into 4 parts, right? Jeremy and Wren in part 1, and Jeremy and Wren in part 2. Why are 3 out of 4 in the present and this part's in the past?
Yeah.
Like, I understand giving us those chapters for context.
Yeah.
And to build, like, the big reveal.
Yeah.
But I think the way it was cut up, like,
it was a little confusing.
Was confusing. Yeah. But, moving along, I was shocked boots. I will say that. I was. Now back to Jeremy. He's very big upset when he finds out the victim was saved. I mean, obviously she didn't make it, but he basically intended for them to find her dead in the casket. And they didn't. So he's upset at himself. And he keeps thinking about like how many mistakes he's making, and he's so pissed at himself. And he's like, clearly he's obsessed with Wren.
Things going his way.
Oh. Yeah, and things going his way. Yeah. But he's obsessed with Wren.
He's a loser!
Yeah. Obviously, you can now put these things together. He kept the bracelet this whole time and put it on the victims, knowing she would find it. He left her business card at one of the scenes of the crime. Like, clearly he's been stalking her. He knows her job. He knows what she's doing. And he wants her to know that he's after her and he's coming for her still. Because obviously, 7 years in the past, he was never able to find her after she escaped.
Oh, because you can't get over anything because you're a fucking loser.
Yeah, he's like, one woman
bested
me, and I'm gonna make it everyone's problem for the rest of my life.
Shut the fuck up, dude.
I fucking hate. I can't.
He's actually kind of like me, to be honest. One man bests me, and
it's everyone's problem for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wren's working on the autopsy, and she thinks about her experiences with who she thinks is Cal, but it's actually Jeremy. But she still thinks his name is Cal because she never knew that he used a fake name.
Katie tries to tell her, and she's like, "You're stupid."
Yeah.
Literally, she's like...
In the past, she's like, no, girl, his name is Cal, I don't know what you're talking about. Really? Is that unbelievable? Look at the situation we're in right now.
I know. I was like, the fact that she doesn't like Katie is a little frustrating. Like, I was like, on top of all that,
I know.
Katie is kind of stupid. Well, not stupid, but Katie has been in that basement for days.
Yeah.
She's depleted.
She's depleted. She just wants to save her friend who's also there.
She's also just like sobbing.
She's
crying,
tired. Like
miserable.
She's been
scared.
traumatized. Yeah. And Emily's like, girl, get it together.
What if I don't want to? You go, girl.
Go then. Like,
I know, literally, like, I don't want to be saved.
God. So I
cannot run fast enough. Simply, I can't.
No, I can't. I can't beat you in a foot race. That's for sure. That's for damn sure.
I can't run fast enough, and I can't run for long. Is the real problem? Is that I can't run for very long.
Yeah. So LaRue shows up, and she fills him in, and she's like, "Listen, this guy." She tells him about her past, and that she thinks that he's the Bayou Butcher.
She's like, I have a stalker.
Yeah. She goes over all the details that she can remember, and she's like, you know what? I'm gonna step back from this case because it's a little too close to home, which is for the best, obviously, because clearly he's targeting her. It's very clear. Moving back to Jeremy, he is feeling really out of control because of all these recent mistakes that he feels that he's making. So he's like, you know what? I gotta take an edge off and go find a victim, which is fucking craziness.
Yeah.
That frame of mind is so insane.
And he pissed me off bad because in his perspective, he goes to the bar and he's like, all I have to do is be nice to a bitch and she'll fuck me. And it works. And it's like, hey.
You think so little of women.
Well, no, also, hey.
Yeah, hey. If someone sent me
Nobody's nice to me, okay?
No one's ever sent me a drink in a bar. So if a man sent me a drink in a bar like that...
Well, we're not going to bars where they're sending us drinks.
You know...
We're not seated anywhere at any bar.
You could do it at a restaurant.
Pass it down to that girl over there.
Yeah, period. You want to get my attention? I've never been given a drink by a man. So...
Never?
Well, I mean, I meant like sent a drink, like in this kind of situation.
But you never been at the bar and a guy... Can I buy you a drink?
I guess he has. Yeah. Maybe I'm talking out of my ass. Not sorry. I said he like a specific person.
I was gonna say.
I guess they have. Men have. But like this I feel like this is a very like classic movie moment where like you're sitting at a bar and
now we're getting distracted.
Yeah, but like you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's ever happened to me either, but I think it's because we're not going to places where it can be sent to you. Fair. But also, regardless of the situation,
yeah,
he's going about it being really nice and being all smooth, and he's like, fucking loser.
Yeah, in his head, he's like, fuck this bitch.
Yeah.
Literally. He's like, of course she said yes to hanging out with me, fucking slut. Like, it's awful. Just fucking awful.
Okay, maybe I am a slut.
Everything that, like, it's okay if I want to do whatever the fuck I want to do.
No, I don't even care if it's bad. Like, I still want to do it.
Let me do what I have to do.
What does that have to do with you?
Literally. It, like, the fact that he's like, ugh, like, she's so... Like, the way he talks and thinks about her is, like, he thinks that she's, like, scum of the earth. Mm-hmm. Just for the way she's behaving. And it's just, like...
Meanwhile, she's just, like, at the bar.
She's just sitting at the bar. I just want to have a drink. Is that okay? She also mentions... Well, okay. He sends her the drink, and then he invites her back to his house to do coke. Because he notices that she has, like, a bloody nose or something. Which I guess is, like, evidence of cocaine use.
We wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know. But she says yes, they leave together, and she mentions that, like, she had recently lost her job. So, yeah, I want to have a drink at the bar. I just lost my job.
And yeah, I want to do a little coke.
Yeah, I just lost my job. Like, let me do what I need to do!
No, literally, like, you're doing too much.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is somebody should have said that to him.
Right.
It's just like, God, dude.
Dude, you're doing a lot. Like, someone, at some point, you gotta calm down.
No, like...
You've been at it for, what, 9-10 years now?
Well, also, just, like, you could just sit there.
How about you just have a drink? I understand that you're stressed out. Have a drink.
You could just sit there. Why would you do all this when you could just sit there?
Have a drink and go home.
Yeah, why didn't you drink the Cosmo?
Right, you sent it to me for what?
Oh, and now I'm the problem.
Right. Suddenly it's my fucking issue.
What's wrong with you, dude?
So, he takes her out to, like, the back of his property around the bayou. You know, he has that big property around his house. And they take a little walk to a bench, they sit down, they're talking, and they lean in for a kiss, and right before their lips lock, he goes, run. This
was so scary.
That was terrifying.
Yeah, that's so scary.
That terrified me. And
too.
Again, I'm listening to this in my headphones, and his voice, like, that voice actor did a really good job. I was fucking scared. Like,
You hit boots.
I was very fucking scared. And I was alone at my apartment when I was listening to it. Ooh, girl, I locked my bedroom door. That's how scared I was. I was like, oh my god. I can't imagine like going in for a kiss with someone and him saying, run. No.
That's really scary.
That was terrifying. And she's obviously taken aback, and he pulls out the knife from his boot, and he's like, girl, run. And she's like, oh. So she starts running, obviously.
No, that's the thing is, I'd just be like, oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to run. I would not be able to run. I'd be like,
yeah, frozen.
Run.
When people say fight or flight, they never mention the third most obvious choice, freeze.
Yeah.
Which is actually, I think, probably what I would do. It would take me a second to activate.
I don't think I would even freeze. I think I'd just be like, well, I'm not running. Realistically, I'm not getting anywhere in these shoes.
Yeah.
Because she's probably wearing heels.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not getting anywhere in these shoes, so.
Yeah, the way I feel when I get anxious, like,
yeah,
I can't imagine it's that 10,000
sweat on the top of your head.
Yeah, like the way I feel when I get really anxious, like I'm that times 1 billion is how I feel when I'm scared. So like I can't imagine being able to activate immediately to like hit feet.
I wouldn't. I'm kind of getting scared right now.
I know. It's dark outside already, and I have to go home. He starts chasing her, and he. Oh, also her name is Tara, for reference. He starts chasing Tara, and he hunts her into the woods, and she starts screaming, which alerts some like nearby people who are on a walk, and he hears them. They start being like, "Hello, is someone out there? Everything okay?" And he starts freaking out because he's like, "Oh fuck!" So he unfortunately slits her throat.
Can you just let her live, dude?
He could have just ran, but instead he decided to slit her throat and
yeah. Also, like,
feet.
yeah.
So he runs back to his car, and he's like screaming, crying, and throwing up that he almost got caught. Like, yeah, girl,
you're such a fucking
You're not
loser.
as slick as you think you fucking are.
You're such a fucking loser.
Literally, you're a fucking loser, and you're a fucking moron. This is embarrassing. Like, literally, what you just did is embarrassing.
Yeah, I'd be embarrassed.
Would you feel embarrassed?
Yeah, I'd be like, ew, I don't want to fuck him anymore.
Like, what? So, yeah. Back to Wren. Her and LaRue get a call about another victim who is alive and at the hospital. Turns out to be Tara. My God. And basically she cannot speak because he nicked her vocal cords, or he cut her vocal cords when he slit her throat, but he only nicked her carotid artery, so that's why she didn't bleed out. She survived because the walkers found her in time to, like, save her. Because if you hit a carotid artery, it's done. And he didn't manage to do it.
Idiot.
Yeah, fucking moron. And he likes to be like, oh, I took, like, biology classes, and I liked human experimentation. Like, girl, you clearly don't know anything about anything.
I'm like, shut up, dude.
This is, like, the third time you failed. Maybe you should just fucking stop doing what you're doing. Yeah. So, they talk to, or Tara, she obviously can't speak, but she writes down his name. She writes Jeremy's name down on a piece of paper.
How'd she get his name?
Well, because he said, my name's Jeremy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Stupid.
I know. Again, so overconfident.
Why would you tell her your real name?
Overconfident, egotistical, like, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And they find out what bar that they met at, so they take off to go to the bar. Jeremy, the next morning, wakes up and sees Tara on the news that she's alive, and he's fucking crashing out. Like, he's losing it.
Well, yeah, and, like, in his head, he's like, the newscaster says Tara's alive, as if that's not cutting me deep in my soul. Or
I know.
something like that.
I know.
It's like, that's like what a man, when you break up with a man that you didn't really like to begin with, that's the type of text message he sends you.
Right.
You're
breaking
my
up
soul
with me
to you, and you're killing my soul.
Yeah, breaking up with me when you know how I feel. What?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. Fucking insane. But,
like, you went on 2 dates with him, and he's like...
He's like, but I've already picked out the names of our children. Good. Yeah, he starts fucking crashing out, and he knows that the police are going to be onto him soon. So he's like, you know what? If they're going to come to my home, I'm going to, make the conditions right for their arrival. So he walks down to his basement, and he changes a light bulb, and he starts tidying up a little bit, like a fucking freak. And then he goes to his basement freezer and unplugs it because there is a dead body in there. And he's like, by the time they get there, they will be able to smell, like, the decomp. That is disgusting and awful.
Yeah, super... In your house, dude.
Putting a human body in a freezer that's just fucking heinous.
You know what I think
awful,
about a lot?
terrible.
I don't know if you can relate to this at all, but when people collect stool samples to drop off to check for internal parasites, intestinal, whatever the fucking word is. I'm a receptionist. I don't know. And they tell them, like, it has to be within 24 hours, or if you want to keep it fresher for longer, put it in your fridge.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm not putting my shit in the fridge. No.
What's crazy is that I'm not putting my poop in.
I'm not going to put my poop in the fridge where I keep my food. Are you confused?
I know, right? I think about it all the time, and people are like, tell the client that you can put it in the fridge. And I'm like, I'm actually not telling anyone to put poop.
No. I'm actually not going to do that. I'm not going to advise anyone to do that. That seems not only like a fucking crime against humanity, it seems so unhealthy. Like, I'm not doing that. I know it's in a bottle, and it's in a bag, and it's whatever. No.
No. I'm not telling them.
No. To put their own shit into the fridge. No.
You know that poop you just took? Put in the fridge.
Put it in the fridge.
Why don't you?
No, because, like, the thing is, we do that for colon cancer screening, and so it's, like, my own shit. I'm going to put my own shit
Well, that's I guess,
in the
like,
fridge into my sandwich for tomorrow.
I mean, like, if your doctor's appointment is in the morning, I shouldn't laugh.
Take your shit in the morning.
How can you control that?
I shit every morning.
Good for you. Not everybody does. I shouldn't laugh. Humans, I'm not laughing at you if you've ever put your poop in a freezer or the fridge. I'm sure there was a good reason. But dogs poop like 50 times a day. Why are you putting your dog poop in a freezer?
Yeah.
That's even worse.
Yeah, that is worse.
What's your poop?
No.
I'm 7 years old.
Yeah, and I understand, like,
the phrase poop in the fridge.
The fact that, like, I get it. Obviously, like, you can't control circumstances. Whatever.
If you're a human, I'm not laughing at you if you've ever put your poop in a fridge. Your own poop.
Make that disclaimer.
I don't want to offend anybody.
Yeah, that's fair. I get it. Yeah.
Because I'm actually surprised I've never had to take poop to the doctor because
yeah,
I'd be shitting weird. You know?
Yeah. We need a sidebar about this off camera. Yeah, but anyway.
But all that to say, putting a dead body in a freezer is way grosser than putting your poop in a fridge.
It's really disgusting. That's awful. And also just really, it's so inhumane. Not that he cares about humanity, but, like, it's very inhumane.
Yeah.
And then he grabs a fucking crossbow.
Girl.
You have a crossbow? I mean, I guess you live in the bayou, but still, like, why do you have that?
Girl.
And he heads out. He's like, I grab my crossbow and I head out to my swamp.
Okay.
Calm down.
No,
like calm down. Enough. You can pack up the crossbow. Like,
okay.
Come on.
That's the thing is that it's just like, at a certain point,
we just say okay. Like, okay, fine. Now, back to
sure,
Ren.
whatever, girl.
Yeah, whatever. We back to Ren. They're talking to the bar owner, and they find out about another witness. And LaRue's like, you know what? I'm gonna take your ass home. Like, I think you've seen enough for today. Now, this is when shit starts to get even more spooky. Jeremy, we head back to Jeremy's POV, and he is sitting outside Ren's home, watching her through the window.
Mm-mm.
And it's very clear that he's been watching her for a very long time, that he knows her nighttime routine, he knows her movements, he's been watching her, stalking her. It's clear that she's actually never really gotten away from him. Like, he's been on her for a while, and that is so terrifying.
So scary.
Like, y'all, close your drapes at night. That's so scary. Oh my god. And
if you're gonna put your poop in your freezer, make sure that nobody outside can see it.
yeah. And
can you imagine can you imagine being her and having to put your poop in the fridge and your stalkers?
Later she's like, oh my god, did he see?
She's like, wait, did he watch me
fuck.
itch my crotch all this time?
Fuck. And he's like, yeah, I did.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Death penalty.
After several hours, he breaks in through a basement window. And I need a sidebar to say that husbands aren't good for shit. Why the fuck was the basement window able to be broken into?
I did kind of giggle a little bit because in Jeremy's POV, he was like, she probably left that to him and then forgot about it because she thought he was going to be smart and do it, and he didn't because he's an idiot.
Yeah. I giggle because of course he didn't.
Well, yes.
Of course.
The Elena came out in that sentence.
Yeah.
That was not Jeremy saying that. Yeah. That was Elena. She had just gotten into a fight with her husband. She was like...
Men always fucking forget everything, no matter what. It's like, there's no way that, like, you know my history.
No, like, no way.
You know what I've been through. You know that I've been abducted. I was hunted for sport. Like, and you still didn't think it was completely necessary to make sure that all the basement windows lock?
Yeah, especially because they never caught that man that did that to me.
You really thought that it was not very important and vital, and we never moved out of Louisiana. So, you don't think that was
also, why do they even live in a house? Why are you not living on the 21st floor of an apartment?
Y'all need to move to Australia. What are y'all still doing here?
No way.
Like, genuinely. So, yeah, he gets into the home very easily. And he's walking around and picking shit up and being like, oh, look at the coffee she drank earlier today. Oh, look at the thing that, whatever. Like, he's been watching her. He goes up the stairs, and this part scared me down. He sits down outside the bedroom door and just sits there. He just sits there for like 2 hours. That scared me so bad. Again, I locked my door, my bedroom door, not the front door, my bedroom door. I was scared. After a while, he's like, okay, I'm gonna go in. So he goes inside the bedroom, and he goes to her bedside table and finds this ring, her grandmother's ring that she had told him about previously when they had known each other in the past. And,
pre-abduction.
And he takes it, and he's like, yeah, I really could kill her right now, but I want her to know it's me when the time comes. Which is sadistic as fuck.
No, like, shut the fuck up, dude.
Sadistic as fuck.
Yeah, what's crazy is that, like, if I had a gun, I would kill you right now.
This shit is so fucking scary. Like, this whole chapter scared me so bad. The scariest part for me was him just sitting outside the door, like, just sitting there. That is so gross and
There's
creepy.
something so scary knowing about, like, someone really had your fate in their hands in that moment and just chose to walk away and you didn't even know.
Yeah.
That's really scary.
That's terrifying. But when he has the ring now, and he's like, all right, got what I needed, and he leaves out through the basement window.
I'd be killing my husband.
I would be so fucking pissed. Once I found out, once I find that ring and I find out that this man was in my home, in my bedroom, next to me, in my room, yeah, like, we're done. What the fuck? You can't protect me.
Not even you can't protect me. You didn't even try to protect me.
Yeah, you don't care.
Let him in the front door.
Yeah, you don't fucking care. You might as well just give him a key.
Yeah.
Like, hello? Now the next morning, the next morning, I suppose, Wren can't help herself, and she's like, I gotta get back in the game. Like, I need to capture this guy. Like, it's eating me alive.
Enough.
Yeah. She's like, it's eating me alive. Enough. Like,
and, like,
I gotta
you can't
get in there.
you can't fucking trust a man. You can't close a window. Can't solve the case.
No, I have to do fucking everything as
Can't
per
make
usual.
a woman come.
Can't do anything as per usual.
Oh my
And
God.
she's like, LaRue's like my bestie, but at the end of the day, that's a man, and he's also a deputy. Like, I'm in charge here. Let me take over. So she gets back in there. Now, using all the clues that she's been given throughout the book, they conclude that Jeremy is the butcher. Okay, there's a whole lot of clues to put this together, but I'm not going to go through them because it's a lot of stuff. But there's a lot of pieces that fit together, and I thought that it was really interesting the way she like laid it out.
I honestly was so confused.
Yeah. Again, I had to go back and
too many moving pieces.
Yeah, I had to definitely have to go back and like.
Still hasn't texted me, you guys. I'm getting so nervous.
He's doing it on purpose, girl. You know this.
I don't think so, babe.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people just don't like you that much.
But remember when you were not texting him on purpose? He's doing the same thing to you. Yeah. You have to live in.
Comment below what you guys think.
Yeah. And so her husband's like, please don't go. I don't want you to be in danger. Girl, like the danger that you put me in this very home.
She doesn't know about that yet, though.
She doesn't know about that yet. But like the danger you put me in this very home.
Can you imagine what that conversation looked like when she came home? I'd be so mad. I'd be so mad. It wouldn't even be mad. I think I'd be like, you know what? I kind of understand Jeremy now. And she pulls out the crossbow.
He gets a text from me and he's like, and it just says run. Jeremy was in our house, run. But she's like, yeah, no, I gotta go. Back to Jeremy. He's in his home, and again, he's still crashing out. He's throwing things. He's leaving a mess. He gets blood stained on the wall, and he's like, oh, I can't wait for them to come here and wonder whose blood that is. Like,
there's actually nothing more embarrassing than a man crashing out.
No,
men look so embarrassing when they're angry. I feel like when women are angry, it's so like sexy and powerful.
Yeah.
And when men are angry, it's just like, it's like watching a top.
Again, it's like, are you not embarrassed about this behavior? But he's like, okay, I'm gonna leave the ring here. So he takes out her grandmother's ring and he leaves it on the coffee table. And he heads out the door and into the bayou.
The bayou.
Now, Wren and the whole team arrive to Jeremy's house. When they get there, they don't find him inside, and Wren immediately clocks her grandma's ring, and she's like, "Houseway, hello?"
Right.
She
texts her husband, run.
No, like, my world would come fucking crashing down in that moment.
Yeah,
my fucking God.
Yeah, she's better than me. I'd be like, I'm actually gonna leave.
The fact that she continues on in this chapter, I would have been like, oh, I'm packing it up.
No, y'all already said I'm leaving.
Yeah, you're never gonna hear from me again. Like, this is too much. The man was in my bedroom last night.
Do you remember that scene of Hannah Montana where she gets off the plane and she goes, "Hello, New York"? That would be me if I lived then.
No, literally.
What are you doing? Why are you still there? Because A, he tried to murder you in Louisiana, and B, it's Louisiana. One big mosquito.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. But yeah, even still, she continues on somehow, some way, because women are amazing.
She's had enough.
Yeah, and she's like, I just have to see this through.
I need to take him down.
Yeah, so she starts to smell the body decomp, obviously, so she heads down to the basement and they find the body in the freezer, starts to examine the body, and they start to hear music coming from outside. And again, I don't know how she continues on here, because this is literally like, you know, touching back to her experience with him 7 years ago, and she's like, I would start crashing out, because I'd be like, oh, my trauma is coming back to the surface, like, the music is playing again.
I also would just never recover from the first time.
Yeah, me neither.
The fact that she went on to go to medical school, I wouldn't do that.
And become, like, the head of the autopsy team. I sound like a dumbass bitch, but you know what I'm saying.
No, I don't, because I don't know either.
Yeah, fair enough. They head outside to see what the fuck is going on, and they find another body. Yeah, so they're examining this body, and LaRue gets shot in the leg by the crossbow. It's enough now. Mm-hmm. Like, pulling out the crossbow is seriously, like, another level of commitment to this bit, and it's like, you don't even, this is crazy. Like,
nobody's interested anymore.
It's enough now. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know how many ways I can fucking say it. Stop. Mm-hmm. And now Jeremy and Wren are face to face, and he calls her name out, and he says Emily, and she's like frozen. Fair enough. Like, this is the first time she's seen him since. This is fucking terrifying. And she grabs LaRue's gun and points at his face, and he's like giggling and being like, shoot it. And she's like frozen, like she doesn't do it.
Girl, shoot him!
No, she doesn't do it. One of the other deputies shoots him. Some guy named Will, I don't know. He shoots him. And
guys named Will are also monsters.
Yeah.
Do we even know any Wills?
I do. And yeah, so we'll come back to this. Okay. Will shoots him, and he falls to the ground and rolls away. Now, the description of him rolling was a little confusing, and like,
it is a little silly.
Like, the fact that I'm literally imagining him like literally like doing a log roll. Yeah.
I mean, that's all he can do, right?
Yeah, he like tuck and rolls like literally away into the brush.
What? Parry the platypus.
Like, how did he? And the fact that he disappears into the brush, like.
What?
Granted, I've never been to the bayou, so I don't know what the landscape looks like too much.
That's true. We've only seen Princess and the Frog.
Exactly.
I've never been to Louisiana.
I only know what the animated version looks like, so I can't speak too much. But it was just like a little silly to think about him rolling around on the floor. And then the other officers go and follow him to track him down. Emily stays with LaRue, and she hears like gunshots going off. The other officers come back, and they're like, okay, girl, come and, like, we need you to ID the body. We got him. And she's like, oh, her. So she goes over there to examine the body, and she's like, whoa, holy fuck, like, he has, like, a gunshot to the face, and, like, his face is disfigured. And they're like, he shot himself. And she's like, oh, what the fuck? So she's like, she gets closer to look at him, and she's like, I guess that's him, but, like,
was it him?
She gets a little closer, and she looks at his chest and realizes there's no gunshot wound on the chest, and that's where Will had shot him. She's like, you fucking morons, this isn't him. It's not him.
So that's how it ends?
Basically. They
Did he shoot himself or no?
No. He shot someone else. And left the body. There? Probably another victim, I don't know. He shot, I think it was someone that he already had there, that he left for them.
Oh, and then he just probably like fired his gun.
Exactly.
And then scurried away.
Yeah. So they he tried to make it seem like that was him, because he wanted them to believe that was him.
To give him more time to scurry.
To give him more time to scurry. like the rat that he is. But obviously Wren is too smart for the world, and she's like, y'all morons didn't even check to see if this, like,
you idiot.
You didn't have the gunshot wound.
Well, also, no blood, no nothing on his chest, you idiots.
Like,
you don't even have to pull the shirt away to see if he's got it.
She's like, it's pretty clear.
You shot him, no?
Come on now. So she's like, it's not him, you fucking idiots. And she's like, well, he got away. And then the last chapter focuses on Jeremy, and he's leaving, and he's taken off his bulletproof vest.
Oh, shut the
And he's
fuck
like,
up.
oh, yeah, like, I know. He's like, oh, finally I've bested her. Like, he's so happy about the fact that he's got one up on her now. And he's like...
You're such a fucking weirdo.
I know. And he's like, oh, you know, like, he's thinking about the fact that she didn't shoot him because she was holding that gun to him, and she didn't fire it. And he's like, I wonder if she would have done it, or if she gets the chance again, if she would shoot me. But she won't get the chance again, because I'm leaving. And
is that really how it ends?
Literally, he walks away through, out of the bayou onto the road, and he's looking at, like, all the swamp creatures, and he's like, look at all these crocodiles and animals, but they're not as bloodthirsty as I am. And then he walks away into the evening.
I don't think I like that ending.
He literally gets away, is the ending. He gets away.
Well, again, everyone's always trying to do something surprising. The twist in the middle was surprising enough.
Yeah.
He should have just died.
Yeah, but, I mean, she wrote a second...
I see your vision, girl.
Yeah. She wrote a second book.
I'm not reading that.
Well, so I think
not because this one was bad, because I didn't think this was bad at all.
Yeah.
I just did not understand it. Like,
Fair.
This was just, like, and I felt like it was boring the whole time. But hearing you explain it makes a lot more sense.
You were, like, locked in.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
That makes so much more sense.
Yeah. I will say that's very true. Like, again, I had to, like, keep going back to really understand what was going on. And obviously when you're reading a book, especially when you're reading books
it's not what you want to do.
In such a short time span like we are, I don't want to spend time, like, going back and going back and going back. Like, it's a little bit, like, a lot. But
this was my last book for my Goodreads challenge, though.
Really? I have one more.
Nice.
I know. Good for us.
And it's going to be The Housemaid, because that's what we're reading next week.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think the ending was obviously to set up the sequel, which just came out recently. But yeah, I mean, I would have liked him to just... I mean, like, you can write another book, just make it a standalone.
I thought they were all standalones.
Yeah, no.
I thought they were all standalones. I thought it was going to be more Wren.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in hearing anything more from Jeremy ever again.
Yeah.
Which, like, I guess you can take it as she did her job, which was, I didn't like the character, and that's, like, what the goal is for any book, is to make you feel something. And I felt something.
Yeah, I mean, I think the goal here was to not fucking like him, and I didn't like him at all.
Yeah, the only problem is it made me dislike him so much, now I don't want to read the second book.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there were... I mean, for a thriller book, like, to not be able to see...
scared.
Yeah, to not be able to see the twist coming, and also to be, like, genuinely scared. There were two things that genuinely scared me. So, a couple things that genuinely scared me. So, I would say, like, she succeeded. And, like, I think, like, it was well done. Like, and I don't know what expectations I really had. Like, I wasn't expecting it to be, like...
I had no expectations.
Yeah,
I thought it was going to be really bad. No offense to her, but, you know, I feel like anybody that does one thing and then pivots to do another, it's like, you can't possibly be good at two things.
I mean,
and then
I think...
it's like...
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm a receptionist, so...
I think it's like...
Guess I'll kill myself.
If one of us put out a book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, people are going to be like, this shit's going to be ass. And it probably would be.
I'm going to write a good romance book.
It probably would be kind of ass if I wrote a book and put it out. But, like, it's like that idea. Like, why is a podcaster putting out a book kind of thing? But, like, I actually think she did a pretty good job. And it was, like, she succeeded in what kind of book. And the kind of book she was trying to write and what the goal was.
Also, it was really true to herself because she's the one that's she's an autopsy tech, so, like, she wrote what she knew.
Yeah.
And, like, it was, like, special to her.
Yeah. And you could also, I think that's something also that I appreciated a lot, was that you could tell that she's really knowledgeable about this stuff. Mm-hmm. And again, there were also, I mean, obviously there were parts where it was, like, a little... cheesy and on the nose and, like,
but I feel like, honestly, that's only because we kind of feel like we know her in a very parasocial way. I feel like I've heard her talk about her autopsy job, and
that's
I feel like we've heard her talk about the serial killers that she hates. So in a parasocial way, it's kind of like, Oh, girl.
Yeah,
I can't hear you talk about this anymore. It's like if I wrote a book and I was talking in great detail about licking balls. It would be like, well...
We've heard you talk about this at every angle, like, enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a valid point, yeah. But I think someone just, like, picking the book up off the shelf at, like, the Barnes & Noble would be,
and I bet, honestly, I would have liked it a lot more if I hadn't known that she had written it.
Yeah, and, like, yeah, I think it was really nice to see that she was really knowledgeable on what she was talking about, and her, obviously... on the Wren side of things.
No, I think she ate with Jeremy's character too. I don't think I've really disliked a character so much in a really long time.
I know.
This book is a 3 out of 5 for me only because I didn't understand it. That is the most personal opinion it can possibly get.
Yeah.
Because I think she did a good job. I don't really have anything to say about the writing being bad. I don't have anything to say about the characters being annoying.
Yeah.
Well, Jeremy was annoying, but that was
the goal, yeah.
So that's fine. The story was good. It was a little gory, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Again, that's a person. Everything I have to say is just kind of like my I mean, I guess everything is always a personal opinion, but everything is just kind of like my personal preference. It's like I'm not a big fan of this. I'm not a big fan of that. Like there's nothing where I'm like this is harmful or this is.
Yeah, there was nothing like that was like bad in a way where you're like you don't need to be
who wrote this.
Yeah. You don't need yeah. So I agree. I think. I don't remember what my rating was. I think I would give it like a 3.5.
I wouldn't read it again. I wouldn't read a second one, but I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised, and like for like a Halloween like spooky read, it definitely spooked me.
I was scared,
and it was also nice. Like you know when you take a break from romance books and then you read something else and you're like, I should never have taken a break from romance books. I know what I like and I should stick to it.
Yeah.
I read this and I was like, okay, like it was nice to take a break. I'm gonna head back at some point, but it was nice to take a break.
Well, we're getting real close to Christmas, so we're going to do, like, a ton of Christmas reads coming up. We have one more spooky reads, and then we're going to get into our Christmas books.
Yay!
That I'm happy to pick all of them, because I love Christmas books.
Yeah. So go ahead and join us next week. We are going to be reading The Housemaid, and, And
we will be back next week.
God willing.
Both had double COVID back-to-back, so.
No, like, things have been dire for both of us, but, yeah, we're getting back on our Zoom. Go ahead and leave us comments, likes, share with your friends and family.
What your name is in the comments below.
Say, hi, my name is blank.
Comment a period.
Yeah. Tell me your favorite One Direction song, please. I'd love to know.
Throw us a bone. Like this video. Please subscribe.
Yeah. You don't understand how excited it makes us when we see that people watch the videos, comment on the videos, like the videos.
We get a view and we're like,
yeah! It means a lot to us. So, yeah, join us next week and we'll see you next time.